Heartwarming discovery. Millionaire's early return reveals incredible ACT by the black cleaner. Tom Clayton stepped out of his glossy black SUV and stared up at his grand home, the pride of Maplewood. The marble facade glimmered under the afternoon sun, a testament to years of work that kept him away from his family. But today, as he entered, a strange chill gripped him. This house, glorious but soulless, had been a fortress of financial success, yet it lacked the warmth of laughter and love. He had chased numbers, profit margins, accolades, and lost sight of what truly mattered. "Dad," Lucy called from the kitchen, her voice filled with unease. The moment she saw him, her expression darkened. She had been brewing a storm for days, and he could feel her emotions crackling like static in the air. Tom's heart sank. Lucy had found a friend in Jaden Johnson, a young athlete whose family had faced the hardest of times. She defended him passionately, claiming that his worth wasn't determined by the stark inequalities of their suburb. Each word stung like a sharp wind. "You think he deserves anything from our world?" Tom had snapped not long ago. "It's all about merit." His words echoed, laced with the bitterness of his own upbringing, full of rigid norms that told him wealth equated to success. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Tom arrived at the community fundraiser that evening, he could feel doubt creeping in. Local residents filled the space with their laughter and conversations, but he stood apart, a shadow among brightly lit connections. It was here he first heard the whispers of Maya Johnson, her story, slowly unfurling like spring flowers in a bitter winter. A single mother, she had sacrificed every penny to save a family on the brink of losing everything. His breath hitched as he watched her grace the stage. This woman who cleaned homes was the real embodiment of courage and heart, an unwritten testament to humanity. Everything turned inside out. In that moment, as she shared her tale, Tom's chest tightened, a wave of shame washing over him. His success seemed pitiful against the immense kindness of a woman who had battled the world without losing her soul. He was a millionaire with walls closing in, while she was a beacon, challenging him and his understanding of success. Could he reconcile the stark distinctions of privilege he had lived by? Just as thoughts spiraled, Lucy stood beside Jaden, resolute in her defense of him and the cause he represented. Their quiet rebellion felt like fire igniting inside Tom's heart. Tom felt a shudder of realization. He was at a crossroads, forced to reckon with the uncomfortable truth about his biases and the chasm growing between him and his daughter. The question lingered thick in his mind. Would he finally embrace understanding, or remain shackled to the expectations of a world that prioritized wealth over compassion? The rich aroma of humanity filled the air, swirling around him, as whispers of a different kind of success beckoned him to lean in. Would he be brave enough to listen? As he stood there, the applause thundering around him, Tom felt a profound unease settle in the pit of his stomach. Lucy's proud smile as she watched Maya was a dagger, piercing through his well-constructed armor. She believed in something he had dismissed so easily, something beautiful and real, and it knotted his heart with both jealousy and fear. Before he knew it, the crowd began to disperse, moving toward tables laden with food and drinks. Laughter and chatter filled the room, but Tom felt like an outsider. He turned to leave, wrestling with the sudden impulse to escape the warmth that felt so alien. But Lucy caught his arm, her grip firm. "Dad, wait," she breathed, her eyes glistening with determination. "You can't just walk away. There's so much to learn here." Tom hesitated, torn between his instincts and the flicker of hope that ignited within him. "Lucy, I know," she interjected fiercely. "You need to hear what she has to say. What this community is fighting for." His daughter's passion flooded his senses, and for the first time in a long while, he saw her not just as his little girl but as a person, a young woman with her own beliefs, struggles, and dreams. The way she stood up for those who had less made him question the values he had instilled in her. "All right," he conceded, barely above a whisper. "Let us hear her out." They moved together toward the stage that now felt like hallowed ground. Tom's heart raced as Maya began to speak again, her voice even stronger than before. She articulated her struggles and those of her neighbors, seeking hope and future for the families around them. With each passionate word, Tom felt layers of his indifference begin to peel away, revealing an unsettling vulnerability beneath. What if he was wrong? What if merit wasn't the only consideration? As he faced the raw truth in Maya's fervent message, memories flooded him. The joyless sacrifices he had made for the sake of his business, missing birthdays, recitals, and quiet evenings with his family for the allure of success. Tom was confronted by an echo of the laughter he had neglected, a very real whisper from the past calling him back. That Lucy's hand slipped into his, grounding him as he wrestled between his ingrained beliefs and the emotional truth that lay before him. "Dad, I just want you to see," she murmured, squeezing his hand tighter. "People like Jaden fight so hard for a seat at the table, just like you fought for yours. It's time to expand that table." Tom's mind raced. His daughter was right. Expanding that table could start with him. What if he used his wealth and influence to support those who truly needed help? Could he shift his focus from mere success to meaningful contributions that would change lives? As the evening wrapped up, Tom lingered, his thoughts chaotic yet electrified. The warmth of Maya's narrative lingered in the air, as did Lucy's fierce belief. It was a new kind of challenge, one that would require more than just financial investment. It demanded compassion, humility, and vulnerability. He looked at Lucy, who was still beaming, the sparkle in her eyes urging him forward. What could this mean for their future? The thought buzzed in his mind, filling him with anticipation, but deep down, lingering doubts gnawed at him as well. Would the community really accept him? Could he truly change? What if the old Tom, the one ruled by wealth and pride, wasn't he ready to let go? As he walked by Maya, she caught his gaze, her understanding smile compelling him to take a leap of faith. The moment felt surreal, charged with possibility and fear. Would he have the courage to rewrite his story, to embrace a different kind of success? The night stretched on, and beneath the stars, Tom felt a shift within himself, a whisper of hope. But what transpired next would test him in ways he never imagined. Would he rise to the challenge, or retreat back into the comfort of his old ways? Tom's thoughts continued to swirl in a chaotic dance, each one colliding with the next, but there was one particular thought that stood out above the rest. He didn't want to let Lucy down. She had fought so hard to pull him back into the light, away from his suffocating need for control and success. He took a deep breath, determined not to let fear dictate his next move. "Let us talk to Maya," he finally said, leading Lucy closer to the stage where Maya was now finishing her speech, the crowd clapping softly in appreciation. He felt the weight of their gazes on him, judgment mingled with curiosity. Who was this man stepping out of his shell, out of his comfort zone? As they approached, Maya was packing away her notes, but looked up and met Tom's eyes, her expression open and welcoming. "Thank you for staying," she said, her voice now softer, like a balm for his frayed nerves. "I wanted to understand more," Tom started, his voice trembling slightly. "I've been so focused on my own path that I haven't seen the bigger picture." Maya nodded knowingly, as if she had seen this transformation many times before. "It's not easy to shift perspectives. It requires real courage," she replied, her keen eyes assessing him. Lucy stood beside him, her excitement palpable. "Dad, I told you Maya's fight is important. She's doing all this for families who don't have a voice." Tom swallowed hard, his throat dry. "I'd like to help. I want to know how." The sincerity in his voice surprised even him. Maya smiled, as if sensing something genuine beneath his carefully built walls. She motioned toward a quieter corner of the room, away from the fading chatter. "Let us sit down. I'd love to share more about Jaden's vision and how we can work together." As they settled into chairs, the world around them began to narrow, just Tom, Lucy, and Maya under the soft glow of hanging lights. Maya's passion was infectious as she outlined her goals for the community. She spoke of gardens sprouting in empty lots, mentorship programs for young people, and a neighborhood where no one went hungry. With each idea, Tom felt something within him stir, a desire to be part of something greater than himself. Yet, deep-seated doubts still churned. "What if they don't accept me?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper, sharing the fear that had held him captive for so long. They will, Maya assured him. But only if you're real with them. This isn't about just writing a check. It's about showing up, listening, and being present. Her words lingered in the air, highlighting the shift in his mentality that was beginning to take root. There was more to life than profits and board meetings. Listening, really listening, was the kind of success he needed to pursue now. Lucy chimed in, her eyes lighting up. We can go to the community meetings, Dad. We can hear their stories. You can see how you can make a difference. Tom felt a sense of warmth wash over him, but it was laced with hesitation. Here was an opportunity for transformation, a chance to connect and contribute. But the question remained, could he truly let go of his past to shape a more compassionate future? As the evening deepened, Tom caught sight of the hopeful glances exchanged between Lucy and Maya. He realized in that moment that he wasn't the only one yearning for change. A flicker of determination ignited within him. Let us do it, he declared, surprising himself with the force of his resolution. Let us start this journey. I want to expand that table, together. But as exhilarating as those words felt, deeper down, the old Tom still lingered. What if he floundered when faced with the depth of the community's needs? Could he truly navigate this profound shift? The answer hung heavy in the air, the softness of connection promising a new path. But would the scars of his past hold him back when he needed to step forward the most? Tom sat there, his pulse quickening as his resolve began to cement. He glimpsed at Lucy, her bright smile illuminating the dim corner where they sat. She exuded a hope that felt contagious, and he couldn't help but feel a longing to be the father she believed he could be. Maya leaned in, her enthusiasm palpable. I'm glad to hear that, Tom. Starting at the community meetings is a perfect first step. You'll meet incredible people, hear their stories. It's where they share their challenges and their dreams. Can I bring Lucy? He asked, the thought of exposing her to a world so different from their own both thrilling and terrifying. The worry that emerged in him was quickly disrupted by Maya's reassuring smile. Of course, the more voices, the better. You two will be welcome. Lucy's excitement bubbled over. I can't wait. It'll be so cool to meet everyone. Tom felt an unexpected warmth settle in his chest. He liked this vision, working together with his daughter to make a difference. Yet, the shadows of doubt danced just below the surface, taunting him. He had to put aside his fears and be present, for Lucy and for the community. That night, as they drove home, Lucy chattered excitedly about what she hoped to see. Tom listened, his heart swelling with admiration for her passion. But as they drew closer to home, the haunting memories of his past crept back in. He'd always been successful, but at what cost? Unable to shake the weight of worry, he turned to Lucy. You know, I used to think that being successful meant having a nice car or a fancy office. But now, I see it differently. Lucy looked at him, her eyes wide with curiosity. How so? He hesitated, searching for the right words. I think it's about how we treat people, helping each other and making sure everyone has what they need. Lucy smiled, tapping the dashboard with her fingers. You're right, Dad. And it feels good to help people. As they parked, he couldn't help but reflect on the new path ahead filled with uncertainty, but also possibilities. Hands on the steering wheel, he felt the weight of both hopes and fears mingling together like a storm beginning to calm. The following day was bright and crisp as he prepared for the community meeting. Tom dressed in a simple sweater, trading a suit coat for something much more approachable. Lucy was beside him, creating colorful posters, her enthusiasm bubbling over once again. What if they don't want to talk to us? He whispered, unease creeping back. They will. You just need to show you care, she assured him, her confidence shining brighter than the sun. When they arrived, the atmosphere was electric with chatter and laughter. As they entered, Maya greeted them warmly, pulling Tom into conversations filled with genuine concern. He was surprised by how open the folks were, sharing stories made of grief, but also of resilience. He listened, really listened, as families recounted their daily struggles, their voices weaving a tapestry of connection. At one point, a young boy approached him, looking shy but brave. Are you Mr. Tom? He asked softly, his eyes flickering with both admiration and hope. Tom felt taken aback. I am. You can call me Tom. I want to be a photographer when I grow up, but my mom says it's too expensive. Can you help us? The boy's question struck a chord deep within him. The same old fears brushed against his heart, but this time alongside something new. Empathy. "Let us see what we can do together," he said, the words flowing unbidden from his heart. As Tom watched the boy's face light up with hope, he realized he couldn't hide behind his fears anymore. This was a chance to step into something bigger. But even as the joy flooded through him, the question lingered. Would he have the strength to see it through when the reality of life's complexities bore down on him? The room pulsed with energy, laughter mingling with pain, hope blooming in unexpected corners, and Tom felt the true weight of his commitment pressing on his shoulders. Would he remain steadfast in this newly chosen path, even as challenges awaited? The weeks rolled by, and every meeting felt like an adventure. Tom felt his world shifting, the old weight of past failures lifting little by little. He found himself enveloped in the laughter of children and the resilient stories of parents who refused to let life defeat them. Lucy's passion became a guiding light, showing him just how he fit into this community he'd only begun to understand. Maya had become his confidant, a bridge connecting him to the heart of the community. Each time they spoke, she drew out his thoughts, encouraging him to share his own experiences, urging him to believe that he had something valuable to contribute. "You have perspective, Tom," she'd often say. "Use it." One evening, Tom stood side by side with Lucy at a community fair. The air was filled with the scent of roasted corn and sizzling burgers, children's laughter ringing like a refrain through the warm night. Lucy was busy painting faces, her small fingers deftly transforming volunteers into colorful creatures. Tom felt a wave of pride wash over him as he watched her in action. This was her home too. "Dad," Lucy chimed, her face bright as she turned to him, her hands splattered with paint. "Look, I did a rainbow unicorn." A girl came running up, her eyes wide with joy as Lucy painted a delicate horn on her forehead. "That's amazing. You're really good at this," he praised, his heart swelling with admiration. Tom then wandered through the fair, greeting locals, feeling accepted, like a piece of a puzzle he hadn't known was missing. He stumbled upon a booth adorned with beautiful photographs, vibrant images capturing stories of life within the very community they were part of. He stood transfixed, feeling an inexplicable connection to the images. One photograph caught his eye, a simple scene of a mother holding her child, both smiling under the golden light of a setting sun. It struck him like a fresh breeze, stirring something deep within. He didn't quite grasp why it affected him so much until he overheard the young boy from the meeting talking proudly about how his photos were on display. "These are incredible," Tom said, looking down at the boy. "You really captured something beautiful here." The boy beamed, the few words of encouragement lighting up his face even more. "Thanks, Mr. Tom. I wanted people to see us, to see hope." Hope. That was the word tying together everything Tom had been experiencing. He realized in that moment that the community was not just a collection of individuals, but a tapestry of shared dreams, woven together through love and resilience. He continued to chat with the boy, asking about his photography journey, each word peeling back layers of his own heart. As they talked, Tom felt an urgency growing within him, a desire to create opportunities not just for this boy, but for others like him. After a long evening filled with laughter and purpose, Tom returned home, Lucy's tired but happy voice trailing behind him as they climbed into the car. "Dad, can we do something for the boy? His dream is big," she urged, her wide eyes sparking with determination. Tom smiled, the warmth in his chest blooming once more. "Yes, let us make a plan." But as excitement crackled in the air, an unsettling question lingered in Tom's mind. How would he balance the demand of this new responsibility with his personal life? Could he truly be the father and the community leader he aspired to be without losing himself again? As he looked out at the sunset marking the beginning of a new chapter, he understood that some challenges were yet to come. But would he be ready to face them head-on when they arrived? The next day dawned bright and promising, but Tom felt the heaviness of uncertainty settle in his chest. He brewed a pot of coffee, the rich aroma filling the kitchen, trying to shake off the nagging doubt. Lucy, still half asleep, padded into the room, her messy hair a halo around her sweet face. "Dad, are we really going to help the boy with his dream?" she asked, her eyes wide with enthusiasm. Of course we are, he replied, trying to sound more confident than he felt. But I'll need a little time to figure out exactly how. With breakfast behind them, Tom took Lucy to school, her laughter a melody he cherished. As he dropped her off, the innocence of childhood wrapped around him, calming the storm brewing within. Back home, he sank into his worn armchair. The photos from the evening fair flitted through his mind, igniting a spark of inspiration. Could he mentor the boy? Maybe organize a photo exhibit showcasing young talent from the community? There was so much potential to harness. But fear tugged at him, fear of stepping too far out of his comfort zone again. He picked up his phone, hesitating. A call to Maya seemed like the right step to take, but what would he say? His mind raced through possibilities. With a deep breath, he dialed her number. "Maya, it's me," he said when she answered, his voice steadier than he expected. "Hey, Tom, how did the fair go?" she asked, her warmth carrying through the line. "It was amazing. I spoke to the boy with the photos, and I think we should really do something for him." "Like what?" she prompted eagerly, her interest piqued. Tom paced back and forth in the living room, the conversation flowing naturally. Ideas blossomed as he spoke. "What if we could set up a showcase for the youths in our community? We can invite families, create a gallery atmosphere. It could show everyone what this place and its children are capable of." "That's a brilliant idea," Maya exclaimed. "You have the connections to make it happen." "And you're right, Tom. This community needs something to rally around." Emboldened by her enthusiasm, Tom brainstormed logistics, jotting down notes as they talked. By the end of the call, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. He wasn't just planning an event. He was creating opportunities for others. That afternoon, he met with local businesses to seek sponsorship, buoyed by the hope in his heart. The community wrapped around him, their support a lifeline. Each conversation felt like a seed planted. He saw visions of families coming together, sharing stories and dreams, laughter filling the air. As the sun dipped low in the sky, painting the horizon in hues of orange and pink, Tom sat down at his kitchen table to plan specifics. His mind swirled with excitement, not just for the photograph showcase, but for the dialogues it could inspire, the fears it could dispel, and the bonds it could strengthen. But even as he envisioned this bright future, another thought slithered into his mind. What would happen if these discussions unearthed secrets or unresolved tensions within the community? Could stirring up emotions lead to confrontations, or worse, fractures? As he rested his head on his hands, contemplating all that lay ahead, Tom felt both excitement and trepidation. Would this plan bring the community closer together, or would it lead to an unveiling of unspoken challenges? With every big dream comes uncertainty, he reminded himself. And yet, he was ready. He had found his spark and wanted to share that warmth with others. But little did he know, a challenge more personal than he imagined was just around the corner, waiting to test the resolve and choices he was about to make. The next morning, a thin mist settled over the town, wrapping everything in a soft veil. Tom awoke with a sense of urgency, the plans swirling in his mind like leaves caught in a brisk wind. He was surprisingly energized despite the early hour, driven by the vision of the community showcase. His breakfast routine with Lucy took on a different tone today. As her eyes sparkled with the remnants of sleep, he felt an overwhelming love for her. "What do you think people will say at the showcase?" she asked, biting into her toast. "I think they'll be amazed," he replied, envisioning the walls adorned with photographs telling stories of dreams and triumphs. "And I hope they'll feel inspired to do great things too." Later, as he pulled his car into the school lot, he noticed the boy from the fair, Peter, standing alone on the playground, clutching a sketchbook to his chest. Tom's heart ached at the sight. He remembered what it felt like to be unseen, to carry dreams and fears buried deep inside. After dropping Lucy off, he approached Peter. The boy's wide eyes, filled with surprise, softened a bit. "Hey, Peter, can I join you?" Tom asked, kneeling beside him on the bench. "Sure," Peter responded, his voice barely above a whisper. Tom focused on the sketchbook. "What are you working on?" "It's just stuff," Peter mumbled, looking down. Tom gently nudged. "I'd love to see it. I'm really interested in what you create." After a moment of hesitation, Peter opened his sketchbook. The pages revealed vibrant drawings, filled with landscapes and glimpses of life he observed around him. Each stroke of his pencil seemed to pulsate with feeling, telling stories unsaid. "Wow, Peter, these are incredible," Tom exclaimed. "You have a real talent." "Thanks," the boy replied, a shy smile breaking through his awkwardness. "What if you showcase these too?" Tom suggested, excitement bubbling in his chest. "You could share them at the event." "Really? You think people would want to see them?" Peter's eyes widened with hope. "Absolutely. They would love your perspectives. You see the world in ways many don't," Tom replied, feeling the spark igniting. Peter's grin widened, and Tom felt a rush of warmth flow through him. He was no longer just an observer. He was actively planting seeds in the minds of the youth. As he drove home, Tom's heart raced with renewed determination. He could see the exhibition alive in his mind, families gathered, sharing and supporting one another, laughter echoing in the air. But that ember of doubt still lingered at the edges. Could he really pull this off? Would people open up when he encouraged them to share their stories? With those thoughts circling, he turned on the radio. A familiar song flooded the car with memories, nudging fragments of his own childhood ambitions. He whispered to himself, "This could be big, Tom. Just believe." That evening, as he spread his notes across the table, he realized he was missing something. He needed a personal touch to the showcase. A way to connect his own story, his own challenges. But would sharing his past help or hinder the experience for others? Would it expose parts of himself he was willing to reveal? Just then, a knock at the door jolted him from his thoughts. It was Maya, her face filled with excitement and a hint of urgency. "Tom, you won't believe what I just found out." He opened the door wider, his heart quickening. He could sense this was going to change everything. What news did she bring that might push them further along the path of their shared mission? With curiosity and anticipation, he stepped aside, inviting her in, unaware of exactly how transformative this moment would be. Maya stepped inside, her energy filling the small entryway like a burst of sunlight breaking through clouds. Tom couldn't help but mirror her excitement. The weight of his thoughts momentarily lifted. "Okay, spill it," he urged, motioning for her to sit at the kitchen table where his notes sprawled like a roadmap of dreams. "Remember Mr. Dalton, the guy who owns almost half the downtown?" she exclaimed, unable to contain her enthusiasm. "He's coming back this week after his business trip. And guess what? He wants to meet with the community." Tom's heart raced. This was no ordinary visit. Mr. Dalton had always been a bit of a mystery, a wealthy figure that people spoke about in hushed tones. "What does he want?" "They say he's interested in investing in local projects," Maya replied, bouncing in her seat. "And this could be the perfect moment for the showcase. Think about it. If he sees the potential of our community through our stories, he could help fund more than we ever imagined." Tom felt a thrill of hope surge within him, but a rush of doubt followed. But what if he doesn't care? What if it's just another meeting? Maya leaned forward, her eyes earnest. "We need to show him what we have. We need to be ready for him." Tom nodded, realizing how crucial this moment could be. "All right, let us make sure everything is perfect then. We'll bring together everyone, Peter's art, the stories, everything." As the two of them sprang into action, the mist from the morning seemed to stretch into a fog of possibilities swirling around them. Tom could practically picture it, a vibrant showcase bursting with life, each story filled with heart, each image speaking volumes. Maya and Tom gathered their plans, knocking on doors, organizing small meetings. News of the showcase spread, excitement buzzing through the town like electricity. They enlisted more young voices, more stories to share. Each day brought new faces, and new energy flooded their efforts. That on the last day before the event, Tom found himself at school, running through logistics. He approached Peter, who was working diligently on a new piece. "How are you feeling about tomorrow?" "I'm nervous," Peter admitted, glancing up from his sketchbook, his individual strokes of pencil now transformed into a canvas of community perspectives. Tom smiled, hoping to infuse some confidence. "You know, your art has already made a difference. People will love seeing it." "Yeah, but what if they don't care?" The apprehension in Peter's voice struck a chord. Tom recalled his own fears. "I get it, but remember, this is a chance for you to show your world. You never know who will be touched by it. We all carry something special." Peter nodded slowly, the flame of encouragement growing. Tom could see it in his eyes, color blossoming where there was once none. That night, as they finalized their preparations, Tom felt a surge of pride. Their work had transformed from a simple showcase into a movement. They were providing a voice to the unheard and a stage for the unseen. The day of the showcase dawned bright and vibrant, the community buzzing with an unusual energy. Families and friends packed into the school gym, laughter and chatter mixing with palpable excitement. Tom felt elation and trepidation swirling in his gut. Then, as he stood in front of the crowd, microphone in hand, he took a deep breath, ready to share his own story. But just as he opened his mouth to speak, a loud commotion pierced the atmosphere from the back of the room. All heads turned towards the source of the disruption, and Tom's heart dropped. What now? What could possibly derail this moment they had worked so hard to achieve? With his pulse racing, he prepared for whatever surprise awaited him, bracing himself for the unknown. Tom's mind raced, the commotion growing louder. Heads turned, and whispers bounced around the room like ping-pong balls. An elderly woman clutched her chest, her eyes wide, while a few younger attendees exchanged nervous glances. What did he just walk into? Taking a deep breath, Tom stepped down from the low stage, his heart hammering in his chest. As he got closer, he could see the source of the uproar, a woman in her 60s, wearing a faded brown coat that looked a bit tattered yet charming, was tangled in an animated conversation with someone in the back. It took a moment for Tom to recognize her as Mrs. Hudson, the school's janitor. She was usually a quiet presence, sweeping floors and emptying trash, never the center of attention. Tom, come here. Maya's voice broke through the buzz, adding another layer of urgency. She waved him over, her expression shifting from alarm to intrigue. When he reached the gathering, he spotted a tall man wearing a tailored suit, with dark hair slicked back, standing next to Mrs. Hudson. And there it was, Mr. Dalton himself. The townsfolk whispered amongst themselves, and Tom felt the weight of their gazes, a mix of curiosity and concern. Mr. Dalton, Maya exclaimed with a grin that lit her up like a beacon. We didn't expect you to arrive early. He nodded, his hands tucked deep into his pockets as he surveyed the room. I had a change in plans, decided to see for myself what all the ruckus is about. His eyes zeroed in on Mrs. Hudson. It seems I'm in for quite the story. The crowd echoed a mix of soft laughs and murmurs as Mrs. Hudson blushed, suddenly becoming shy. But it didn't last long. With surprising strength and determination, she stepped forward, her voice unwavering. I just wanted to say, Mr. Dalton, I've worked in this school for over 20 years. I've cleaned these halls, but it's the stories inside them that make this place shine. It's about the kids, their dreams, their realities. Tom exchanged looks with Maya, both taken aback that Mrs. Hudson had become the voice of passion, the very core of their mission. And you know, she continued, passion fueling her words, there's a warmth in this community that can't be swept away. You might have your investments, but we have each other. And this showcase? It's more than art, it's a collective heartbeat. Tom felt heat rise in his cheeks. Hope flickered in the tension-filled space. Could Mrs. Hudson be the key that opened Mr. Dalton's heart? Mr. Dalton seemed intrigued. What's so special about this community? Why should I invest my time and resources? Because, she said, pointing to Tom and Maya, the stories here tell of a resilience and connection that other places can't offer. It's worth more than just money. It's hope. The room fell silent, all eyes glued to her. Tom could hardly believe the words spilling out so crisply, filled with gut-wrenching sincerity. He looked around and saw nods of agreement, smiles forming. The energy shifted from disarray to unity, all thanks to Mrs. Hudson's bravery. Let us show him, Maya whispered, enthusiasm sparking in her voice. Together, we can do this. Before Tom could reply, Mr. Dalton raised a hand. All right, show me what makes this place special. Tom took a deep breath, feeling a rush of determination. It wasn't just a showcase anymore. It was a fight for their stories. But then, a thought nagged at him. Would their efforts resonate under the weight of such a powerful man? What if the showcase wasn't enough? As Tom moved back to the front, ready to step into his role, a flurry of uncertainty washed over him. He glanced back at Maya and Mrs. Hudson. They were ready. But was he? With the weight of expectation heavy in his chest, a sudden silence fell again, the audience breathing in collective anticipation. What would happen if all their hopes and dreams fell flat? As uncertainties roamed, one question stuck out more than the rest. Could they really capture Mr. Dalton's heart and, more importantly, his commitment? The noise faded into silence, and Tom felt every heartbeat pulse with uncertainty. He stood before the crowd, the faces of the community watching him, waiting. Sweet anticipation mingled with the familiar knot in his stomach. But this time was different. This was more than just a presentation. This was a lifeline. "Good evening," he began, his voice steady despite the whirlwind in his heart. "I'm Tom Clayton." He scanned the room, meeting familiar faces and seeing strength shine through their warmth. "Today is about more than just me or any investment. It's about the stories woven into the fabric of this community." A surge of energy rippled through him, pushing away doubt. As he spoke, he saw Peter standing off to the side, cradling his sketchbook like a treasure. He knew that hesitance hung over their heads like clouds, but each word Tom uttered and every story that unfolded around him chipped away at that heaviness. Maya stood next to him, her eyes sparkling with sincerity and belief. "We all face struggles," she added, stepping forward. "But together, we built dreams, and today, we want to share that journey with you, Mr. Dalton, and the heart that fuels our determination." Tom felt the tide of their connection swell, encouragement flowing through the room as local voices chimed in, sharing their stories of heartache and triumph. Mrs. Hudson spoke of families she knew. Peter shared his dreams. Lucy stepped forward, painting a picture of hope for tomorrow. With each voice, the energy intensified, drawing Mr. Dalton closer to their shared spirit. Time drifted onwards, and the crowd shared collectively mundane and extraordinary challenges, becoming one unified tapestry of resilience. Tom watched as Mr. Dalton's expression softened, eyes glimmering as tales unfurled like flowers breaking through winter's hold. "Why do you do this?" Mr. Dalton finally asked, the weight of his presence filling the air. "Because we believe that every story matters," Tom answered, his conviction sharper than ever. "Each person here has something to offer, something invaluable that wealth alone can't replicate. When you invest in people, you create hope, growth, and potential. You elevate lives." It was a truth that rang loud and clear in the room, resonating deeply within every heart present. Tom could see the shift on Mr. Dalton's face as he absorbed the spirit around him, the spirit that grew from the very soil of Maplewood. "But why should I believe you?" Dalton asked, his skepticism still lingering. "Because we're not just asking for your money. We're asking for your partnership. We want to create opportunities, not just handouts. Together, we can build gardens from empty lots, mentorship programs, and a neighborhood that rises together, where children like Peter can dream without limits," Tom asserted, his passion carrying every word. The auditorium erupted in applause. A wave of energy rippled through the crowd. Hope, that flickering ember of faith, ignited further. "All right," Mr. Dalton finally said, raising his hands for quiet, his face softened by the energy that surrounded him. "You've captured my interest, truly." Cheers erupted in the room, a symphony of dreams and possibilities. At that moment, Tom felt something shift inside him, a fusion of fear, exhilaration, and raw courage. He had walked a path from doubt to unity, and they had woven something beautiful together. "Let us meet tomorrow," Mr. Dalton continued. "I want to discuss how we can work together on this." As excitement spread like wildfire, Tom chanced a glance at Lucy. Her eyes sparkled brighter than ever, filled with adoration and pride. In that moment, he realized the true treasure he had sought. Weeks turned into months, and the community's vibrancy grew. Tom dedicated himself to listening, learning, and expanding that table with Lucy by his side. Peter's photography showcase became an annual event, blossoming into opportunities for other aspiring artists, while mentorship programs flourished, creating safe spaces for future generations. One evening, after another successful community meeting, Tom stood on his porch. Lucy was inside laughing with her friends, the warmth of their voices soothing like a gentle breeze. He couldn't help but reflect on how far they had come. "Tom," Maya called, striding up the walkway. He laughed, ready to share in another success story. "We did it. Look how alive the community feels," she said, her enthusiasm infectious. "Yes," he replied, his heart full. And it all started with a simple choice to listen. His gaze drifted to the sunset, painting the sky in hues of gold and lavender. There was purpose in the air, a ripple of palpable change, and he had learned what truly mattered: Transformations weren't just about wealth or prestige. They were enmeshed in hope and community. They thrived in heart, compassion, and connection. The dust of shadows faded behind him, and now, in that light, he saw an unbreakable bond of family, both near and far, a family intertwined with every story held. With renewed vitality thumping through his heart, Tom took a deep breath of contentment. "Here's to our journey forward," he whispered, brimming with warmth and a resolve to continue expanding that table for him, for Lucy, for Maya, for all of them. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, a soft promise filled the twilight air. This was just the beginning. Now, if you're here and moved by this transformation, you need to subscribe now so you won't miss more inspiring stories like this. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button right now to feed the algorithm and keep this community alive. I want to hear your thoughts and feelings about this ending. Comment down below. And don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with 5 friends who need to witness this kind of change. Together, let us grow this journey of heart and hope.